So I need to know, do you have a favourite chocolate bar?
I do.
What is it?
Well,
you guys get to play arbitrator on this, by the way, so feel free to be judgmental.
some nights, if I'm in a really sad mood, then I'll sit at home by myself, and it gets worse. And I'll get a nice big glass of full fat milk, like a pint, and
missing the chocolate bar in the story.
It's coming. And a big slab of Cadbury's Oreo. Yeah. And it makes the whole world better.
General approval for your choice of chocolate there. Other important questions. When you brush your teeth, is it toothbrush in the water, then toothpaste, or is it toothpaste, then toothbrush in the water?
Neither. So I get my toothbrush, So before I put the toothpaste on, I put it under the water. Because you know that thing where the smell of something is actually small particles of the thing itself? People are pooing in my toilet. And so my toothbrush is just there. So you got to wash that away before you put the toothpaste on, but then it needs to be moistened a little bit, so you put it back under and then you go for it.
I got way more than I bargained for that question. So you rinse, I think what you're saying is you rinse the poo off your toothbrush. Is that what?
Yeah?
We're going to move on. Something a bit more. I didn't realise a question about a toothbrush could not be PG, but there we go. Do you have a favourite pair of socks? Tell us about your actually. Carry on. Do you have a favourite pair of socks? I'm nervous this could be a minefield.
I'm quite boring with my sock choice. I just wear white socks all the time. That's it.
Anybody do better? Have we got any better than white socks? We got some fun socks at the front here. Jack, I like your socks. Jack, stick a foot in the air, show everybody your socks.
Red toes.
Good.
Those ones are cool there. They got little frilly things. Like the collar of a clown.
I feel like we're learning a lot. You're bonding with us here. This is good. I have one last question, which is not about socks or poo or chocolate. And it is, so you spend your time when you're not at CIRT telling people about Jesus.
Yep.
And I'd like to know very briefly, why is it that you think Jesus is worth talking about and why you trust him?
Yeah, good question. Simply put, Jesus changes everything. Without Jesus, I don't know what I would do. So he literally changes everything. And I guess as we go through the next 4 evenings, we're going to see more about Jesus himself and more about what he's all about, the kind of things he's interested in. But yeah, Jesus changes everything.
Brilliant. Thanks so much. I'm going to leave you alone now, and you can tell us what you're going to tell us.
Do I have to sit down all the time? I'm going to get out. I'm going to wander about. Great. Well, to start with, I'm going to need 5 volunteers to come and help me. Okay, let's choose people who haven't already been up. Yeah, Jack, Ben, Finn, is it? Yeah, come on up. Grab a seat. We've got 5 chairs. This is perfect. And what I'm going to do is, I've got over here, I've got my little bag here, and in my bag, has anyone got any childhood friends, imaginary friends, or little toys that you kind of It's all right to own up to it. It's okay. Well, I've brought with me something in the bag which is very, very important to me. And what I'd like you guys to do is see if you can work out what it is. Okay? We're going to go down the line. Ben, I'm afraid you got the bad deal, but you'll find out about that in a minute. So we're going to go down the line, and you've got to work out what it is in my bag. Okay, it's very dear to me. So, Jack,
yes.
I'd like you to use the power of your imagination and tell us what is in the bag. Using your brain.
Use my brain.
Brutal.
I don't have one.
Go for it. What do you think's in the bag? Use your imagination.
Oh wow.
It's a
jellyfish.
It's not a jellyfish. No. Good guess, though. Finn? Is it Finn?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Now, you can use more. Okay, you're allowed to smell it. Okay, so close your eyes. Close your eyes. I'm going to put the bag over your face, not to suffocate you. And you're going to smell it, and I want you to tell me what it is. Okay, so have a smell. Still breathing? Okay, what do you think it is in the bag? Oh. What is it?
Your nan's teddy bear or something.
My nan's teddy bear. It's very specific. Okay, Ben, you are allowed to use a different sense. You are allowed to lick it. Okay? Now, are you allergic to anything?
No.
Great. So you're going to need to close your eyes. The rest of you close your eyes as well, just so you can't see. Okay, you're going to lick it.
I don't really want to do this.
Okay, put your tongue out. Here we go. I'm going to... Okay, what do you think it is? What is it? It tastes old. Something old. Can you get any further than that?
It's your nan's teddy bear.
No. Okay. What's your name? Elizabeth. Okay. Elizabeth, you get the privilege of being able to touch the object and to see what it is. So close your eyes for us. Close your eyes, and you can put a hand in. there is a bit that Ben has licked. Go for it. You got to tell us what it is.
Oh, okay.
Don't worry if it moves. Okay, stop.
No. Oh, okay.
What do you think it is?
Don't worry if it moves. Okay. That felt like a... like... like a hairy, like, fruit, or like bristly, like a hedgehog or something.
A hairy fruit
But from then it's like old.
or a hedgehog.
Like a doll's head or something like that. It doesn't feel
Okay, a hairy fruit or an old doll's head. Okay, great. Finally, what's your name?
Ella.
Ella is going to get to look at it for just a couple of seconds, and she's going to tell us what it is. Okay, are you ready?
Yeah.
You get to look at it.
Oh, really?
Okay, tell us what it is.
I don't even know.
Describe it to us.
It is like a head or something. It's like, I don't know.
Okay.
It's like a round ball.
Okay, well, I'm going to put you out of your misery. In my bag is my friend, actually. I know. And he's got a name. He's called Gordon. And here is Gordon. Gordon is a favourite friend of mine, and he's been with me many years, hasn't really? I just whipped him up yesterday. Now, guys, you got something about Gordon, right? You picked up that maybe it was a hairy fruit, which I guess you could say that was the coconut. We had kind of old, like smelling a bit, kind of like a musty teddy bear. Someone said coconut, didn't they, at some point? From your imagination? Oh, I see. Okay. So you kind of got some things about Gordon here, but you didn't quite get the full picture, did you? You didn't quite understand that he's a coconut with a face mask and a party. What's it called? A party horn? But anyway, grab a seat, guys. Let's give him a clap. Well done. Now, I don't know what you thought about Gordon. Maybe you think he's a bit weird. Maybe you don't. Maybe you want to take him home. A bigger question is, I wonder what you think about Jesus. Jesus, as we see him in the Bible, I wonder what you think about him, who he is. What are the kind of things that he does? My guess is that maybe a little bit like Gordon, we kind of get some things about Jesus, but we don't necessarily get the full picture. Now, I love Google. Does anyone love Google? Yeah, oh, good. It's great. Takes all of your details and makes them public. And this week, I Googled what Google thinks about Jesus. And it was very, very insightful. So let me show you some. Let's start with this one, I think. So here we go. So I typed in Jesus was a, and saw what came up. So Jesus was a Jew, a crossmaker, a carpenter, or an alien. So there's that one. The next one, what did I type in? I typed in Jesus is, this is a fairly normal one actually. Jesus is Lord, Jesus is my friend, Jesus is God, Jesus is born. Fairly normal. The other two, not so. Jesus is my. Now this was a bit of a shock. Jesus is my friend. Jesus is my superhero. Jesus is my homeboy. And Jesus is my best friend. And then finally, this one is Jesus is a. And again, some slightly surprising results. Jesus is a friend of mine. Jesus is a biscuit. Jesus is a Rochdale girl. I don't actually know what that is. Is that just a girl from Rochdale? I don't know. And Jesus is a hedgehog. If you could explain any of those to me afterwards, then do come and tell me. But we're going to think about Jesus today. We're going to think about who he is, who this guy is, because he rocks up on earth and he does some crazy stuff, and we're left asking the question, who is this guy? Is he just a loon? Is he just a mad, crazy person? Or is actually who he says he is true? So hopefully by the end of the evening we're going to see a bit about that. Before that, I want to tell you a story. About a year ago, I was setting up for youth group, similar to like what Paul will do, putting out the table tennis and making the hot chocolate and all that kind of stuff. And working for a church, you get a lot of random, interesting people come into the church, right? Often with some kind of fairly big issues and things. So this guy walked in whilst I was setting up. I was putting out the bean bags and stuff. And this guy walked in, and as normal, I just thought, oh, he's just kind of another guy. I'll just like be, oh, hey, how you doing? Yeah, good. Here's the door. But he came up to me, and he was like, oh, hi, what's your name? Seemed like a rather nice guy. I was way more interested in just getting on with setting up, so I was trying to brush him off. And he suddenly came out with this question of like, so what do you think about North London? Do you enjoy it? What do you think of the hard things about it? And I was like, oh, okay, maybe he's not just a goon that I think he might be. And I tried to shake him off. It turned out he was going to stay for the service, so he wanted to hang up his coat, so I took him to the coat hooks. And he took off his coat. And as he took off his coat, a little part of me died inside, because this wasn't just any old random goon off the street. This was our bishop. Now, I don't know if you're familiar with the kind of Church of England weird stuff of hierarchy and things, but a bishop is like reasonably high up in the ranks. He's like my boss's boss's boss or something like that. I don't know. And so there he was in like his big purple dress or whatever it is, and this dog collar, and he had this bag, and I could see poking out of the bag was his little thing, whatever. And I was like, whoa, this is the bishop. If I'd have known it was the bishop, I would have made him a cup of tea and talked all posh and nice. But you see, I didn't realise who it was I was talking to. This bishop guy, he was hidden under this long black coat, and I didn't realise it was him until off came the coat, and I was like, ah. And so I wonder if that's a little bit like Jesus. Well, grab your uncovers in front of you, and we're going to look at... Oh, has anyone not got one? Okay, Paul will come around with some. And when you've got it, if you can open it to page 38. Page 38. And we're going to read just a couple of sentences from there to show us a bit about who Jesus is. Page 38. Great. Is everyone there? And I'm just going to read the first two sentences on page 38. It says this: After this, Jesus went out and saw a tax collector by the name of Levi sitting at his tax booth. "Follow me," Jesus said to him. And Levi got up, left everything, and followed him. Now I wonder what you think about those verses. Jesus, according to the Bible, is an extraordinary guy. Incredible. I wonder if you noticed how incredible Jesus is just in these few verses. Do you see what's so incredible about Jesus? People follow him. People follow him. Just imagine the scene for a minute. Like, back in Israel 2,000 years ago, in the middle of summer, it's hot, it's sweaty, the sun's beating down on you, and you're like all muddy and dirty, and there's dust in the air, and you rock up, and there's this little booth, like a hot dog stall, kind of the equivalent, with Levi sitting there, and he's a tax collector. Now, tax collector in those days were like shunned and scorned as the scum of the earth. A bit like, I guess, the bankers of today who have like played the system a little bit and taken their bonuses without actually doing anything. Levi was a bit like that. And Jesus rocks up. Levi's probably in the middle of like touting people and getting loads of money out of them falsely. And Jesus rocks up. The first words out of his mouth, "Follow me." Now, if that was me sitting there, I would be thinking, who are you? What on earth are you doing? You're just some crazy goon. Get out. But what does Levi do? Did you see what he does? In sentence number 28, Levi got up, left everything, and followed him. Do you see? Jesus just says, "Follow me," and this guy, treated as scum of the earth, gets up, leaves all his stuff, and follows Jesus. There's something incredible about him. There's something that his words just command, and things happen. Who can tell me what kind of supermarkets there are around here? Morrison's, Lidl, okay, all the normal ones. Okay, say I went down to Morrison's, right? Paul and I went to Morrison's earlier. Well, Paul went in. I was scraping off bird poo off my car. We went to Morrison's. Imagine I went into Morrison's and went into the little staff room with all the people there, and I was like, "Follow me." What are they going to do? They're probably going to think, "Who is this goon?" And they're probably going to get security to come and escort me from the building. We have no power like that. Just to say some words and people do it. But Jesus? People follow him. Everyday working people get up, leave their stuff, and run after this guy because he's incredible. But let's look at a second reason why Jesus is so incredible. Flick back over the page to the very bottom of the page on 36. And we're just going to read those last two sentences there and see if you can spot how Jesus is no ordinary guy. It's little number 26. Everyone was amazed and gave praise to God. They were filled with awe and said, "We have seen remarkable things today." And now flip back 2 pages to page 32 and little number 36. It's like the third paragraph. You see what it says? All the people were amazed and said to each other, "What words are these?" Do you see what's happening? Jesus is walking around with all his disciples, with all these guys that he's called, and they're following him because he's something incredible. And he's teaching people, he's healing people, he's doing amazing things, and people are there. And how are they responding? They are wowing at Jesus. They see how utterly incredible he is. He speaks as one who has authority, not like the people around who were teaching them. So I don't know if you've ever tried this. I come from the Isle of Wight, and one day I went down to the beach and stood at the seashore, and it was quite a rough day, and I stood there and I said, "Stop." And as you can imagine, nothing happens. The waves get rolling and roaring. See, our words have no power, do they? Or think about politicians. Politicians we treat fairly lightly, don't we? Because we don't really trust what they say necessarily. I'm sure there's some truth that they speak, but there's also a lot of lies and deception. If they say something, we don't just do it, or we certainly don't wow at them. Or think about teachers. Teachers at school, they speak. Do we do it immediately? Probably not. And then add into the equation when you have a substitute teacher. Yes, you know it. You know it. People say stuff, but it has little to no bearing on people doing it. Whereas Jesus, he rocks up, and people wow at him. Crowds are like, "Who is this guy?" There's something incredibly special about him. 2 incredible things. Now I wonder, maybe you're thinking, well, that's great, thanks Dave, but did Jesus even exist? Like, was he even a real guy? Isn't this just a fairy tale? Isn't this just a myth? Well, according to history, like, even if you forget the Bible, There is so much evidence for the existence of Jesus. Let me read to you a quote from a guy called Josephus. Josephus was alive at the time of Jesus. He didn't really like Jesus, he hated him, and yet he wanted to record kind of scientifically what was happening in that day, just like a history book. And here's what Josephus says. At this time, there was a wise man who was called Jesus, and his conduct was good, and he was known to be virtuous. And many people from among the Jews and other nations became his followers. Pilate condemned him to be crucified to die, and those who had become his followers didn't abandon him. Do you see, even the anti-Jesus people back then got that Jesus existed. It's not a question of whether he existed or not. That's obvious, that's clear. The big question is who Jesus says he is correct or not? Because that makes all the difference, doesn't it? Just think about it for a minute. Maybe you think Jesus is just mad. Maybe you think he's just some loon, some crazy guy, like probably got some issues, running around just going crazy. Maybe Jesus needs to go to a psychiatric hospital, not going around telling people these big truths. Maybe that's how we see Jesus. Well, if that's how we see him, then I think we've misunderstood him. Maybe we see Jesus as someone bad, like someone who goes around conning people and deceiving them just so that they follow him. He wants to be some kind of guru and have these people follow him to make himself feel good. Maybe we think Jesus was just a big con artist. Well, can I suggest that from what we've seen, the fact that people just get up from their work and follow this guy, the fact that Jesus just speaks and people listen up to him, and many other stuff in this bit of the Bible, can I suggest that because of that, Jesus must be who he says he is? Now, there's loads more we could talk about. There's loads more we can investigate, and please do. But who do you think Jesus is? Maybe like with Gordon, you kind of get parts of who Jesus is. You kind of get that he's a good teacher. You kind of get that he does some great things. But maybe you don't get who he actually is. God come to earth to save. Maybe you don't get that yet. Maybe just like the bishop when he walked into the church and I didn't quite understand who he was. Maybe we're not quite at that moment where the coat's off and we realize who it is we're looking at. Well, can I encourage you, if that's you, come along every night this week, because we're going to open up more of Luke's Bible and we're going to see more incredible things about Jesus. We're going to think about big questions like, do I matter? We're going to think about what's life all about? We're going to think about how we can be part of God's amazing party to come. So can I encourage you, come investigate, grow, learn, and hopefully in time, come to trust Jesus for yourself. If he's mad, if he's bad, forget him, chuck him out. Nonsense. But if he is who he says he is, then we at least need to listen up to what he says. Paul.
Great, thanks so much, Dave. Dave's going to be speaking each evening, and we'll tell you a bit more about those evenings a little bit later on. I'll just say about those Gospels you've got in your hand, those Luke's Gospels, the uncover ones. You're free to take those home with you and to look through them, see what you can find in there about who this Jesus is. As Dave said, we're going to be thinking on one of the evenings about what's life about, and we're just going to watch a brief video now, which is a little kind of promo trailer for something we're going to be looking at in our groups, our youth groups, when we get back after Easter.